Dr. Chris Cueto, aka TheStickDoc. Today's video is we're going to talk about how to generate a lot of force for our punches, whether you're a boxer, an MMA fighter, karate, Jeet Kune Do guy. These are all the type of things that we're going to use for conditioning the power of our punches. And how we're going to do this, we're going to use the Hydrocore bag. Before I continue, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our channel. So for a lot of us, when we do boxing or any type of punches, for anybody who does orthodox punching like boxers, or for me, for example, when we do Jeet Kune Do, where we actually have our power side forward, we always think about our upper extremity, our whole upper region here in terms of doing the strikes, which is true. Yeah, we need our strength there. But you know what? We need to develop a big part of that too is going to be our core. We need to develop our core. Now, when we're talking about our core, we're not talking about your abs. That's a big part of it too, yes. That actually tenses. There's different types of your abdominal structures here that actually helps coil and generate that force, and as well as that contraction, that momentum and hit. But we also utilize our muscles in our spine as well as the glutes, which helps create a lot of stability, and our lower extremity as well, our feet, our calves, everything. Why? Well, when we generate our punches and our force, whether we're initiating that strike into that moment of contact when we contract, and depending on what style you're using, whether there's a little bit of a slight retraction or a follow through, there's going to be that force that you need to generate for those punches. Now, how do we do this? Well, there's a couple things, or a few things here that I use, that I usually tell a lot of folks when they're conditioning to generate these punches, that's gonna be very, very helpful. And that's gonna be our basic things. Our kettlebell swings, or in this portion, we're gonna use a Hydrocore, doing regular Hydrocore swings, as well as a modified Gravedigger, which I'll show you in a few minutes, okay? So let's talk about the swing first. Okay, so let's talk about the swing first. I have my Hydrocore bag here ready to go, and of course I've attached the handles here too. Now, there's a side note here I'm gonna say. If you have a hard time with the weight of the Hydrocore bag, well, that's the beauty of the Hydrocore bag. You can definitely empty out the water to make it a little lighter. Or, if you like, you also switch to the other handles here too. For the swing, it's not gonna be too much of a big difference just because you're going one direction as it is. So, just like a kettlebell swing, where we start off in a hinged position, okay? And I always like to tell a lot of folks, make sure that we're bending by the hips, sticking our chest, sticking your butt out a little bit more. And again, we're activating our core, we're generating the power from the hip hinge. So we're gonna be using a lot of our glutes to drive that force. So from just like the kettlebell swing, we use the Hydrocore going up, generating that force. Now, it's a little bit awkward just because of the fact that Hydrocore is a little bit bulkier than a kettlebell. So for this one, we're gonna definitely have to have our stance a little bit wider. Now, some folks like to have their toes pointing outward. I like to keep my toes pointing forward because we also like to train ourselves in different types of rotational directions, keeping our stability, keeping everything stable as we can. So for the swing, same premise here though, going one direction. We're gonna go from here and up, here and up. Remember, you want to use your hips, your glutes to drive up. When we drive up, we contract our glutes. We're thinking about closing it in. We're driving our hips forward. Think about trying to stand up straight as fast as we can. That's the goal. Now, the other thing about this too, with the swing, you don't want to just let it flop around. You want to also maintain stability in your shoulders. So if you could, also slight contraction of the muscles between your shoulder blades. The round boys, your mid traps, a little bit of your lats as well. That's why the swing, whether it's a kettlebell or a Hydrocore, it's one of the best exercises and movements that you could do if you don't have any equipment around. Just one equipment, Hydrocore, kettlebell, actually a swing will do. So from here, we generate that force, whether we're going up this way, okay? We could even do it for a few things to a clean, for example, or even a front swipe, whichever, but let's stick to the swing. Now, again, with a swing, it's a little bulky. You could even switch it up either right or left or right. That's the beauty about this product, is that you could actually go up and swing up and down. Swing up and down. Okay? So, premise behind this, when we are punching, when we're generating that force, again, for me, for example, I do Jeet Kune Do. we use that rear leg as it's cocked, ready to go, coiled. But as we're throwing that punch, as we're actually rotating our whole pelvis, we're using our glutes, there's that hinge to drive that momentum. It drives that force, it initiates it. And as we're doing this, boom, we do that full contact. Another great way there too, okay? I'm gonna show you another move using the Hydrocore, but this time it's gonna be called the Gravedigger. Now, we'll go with that in a second. All right, so now I'm gonna continue on with the Gravedigger. Now, the Gravedigger, if you're not familiar with that, it's originally used with the mace. I'm gonna be using the RMT club here, but basically the basic move is literally shoveling. You're shoveling up and down, up and down. Well, look at this, up and down. Now, with the Hydrocore bag, with the different handhold positions, you could obviously do the same thing. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Well, here's the thing. The beauty about the Hydrocore with the Gravedigger is that you can still generate that same torque and momentum with the glutes, with your calves, with your lower extremities, into your whole spinal cord, into your punch, into your upper extremity. How are we gonna do this? It's basically the same basic movement as the Gravedigger. Only difference is, instead of keeping your foot in a stable position, you're gonna actually pivot. You're gonna utilize that motion now when we generate that power. So as we pivot from here, we pivot up. So going from here, we're generating, and now as I'm doing this, it's the left hand, or my rear hand here, that's actually gonna deliver that punch. So we're punching, we're doing uppercut. Boom. We're actually creating that, that tension, squeezing your glutes, generating that power. So if I did that slow, now going fast, boom, 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 boom. Going to the other side, same thing. We're gonna pivot. We're gonna pivot. Boom, 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 boom. You're punching, you're punching, you're punching, you're punching. You're creating that coiled spiral motion to generate that impact and that force. Now, let's put that to application. All right, so here we are. We're gonna start with the application. So remember, when we condition with that Hydrocore, we're using the swing from the hinge, from ground up, using our glutes to contract our glutes into our core, into our extremity, and then into the Gravedigger, where we're using that spiral motion, clenching the glutes, into the core, into the upper extremity. So whether you're a southpaw, like us, when we do Jeet Kune Do, when we have our leads, power side forward, or if you're orthodox, it doesn't matter. You're actually doing the same generation also, okay? Okay, so that's where you get our power. Now, remember, you're using your rotation, your movements here, okay? Now, if you, like me, or any other practitioner who does JKD, where our power side is forward, obviously the emphasis, we're in a quilt position, that heel is up, you're ready to go, power side forward, boom. That's where we actually do our lead punch. So, boom, boom, and again, combination, all our footwork. But again, that all stems from that movement that we just did. From the swing, hip hinge, into that spiral movement of the Gravedigger. It's up. In any case, if you have any questions, feel free to go to our website at www.heraldsquarechiropractic.com. Again, I also want to make a big shout out to the Hydrocore team and Hydrocore tribe, and the folks at New York Martial Arts Academy, my JKD brothers there and sisters, as well as Dr. Stoops, for all the JKD guys. Talk to you guys soon. Be like water.